The Last Battle is the show where we explore the latest and greatest on leadership, advocacy, science, and therapies in the battle against cancer. On The Last Battle, we'll be exploring with global innovators and leaders the many exciting developments driving optimism in the world of cancer. Great thanks for listening as we move forward with The Last Battle, a Cloudcast Media production.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the inaugural episode of The Last Battle, the show where we're going to be exploring the latest and greatest with respect to leadership, advocacy, science, and therapy, which of course spells last. And we are very excited for this first show. My name is Charles Parisi, and I'm actually filling in for Dr. Joe Raffa, a 30-year veteran in the cancer battle, so to speak, published author, research individuals, worked with a variety of systems and databases to help improve information. And I want to say it's nice to be filling in for Dr. Joe Raffa on the first show, and he's a little under the weather. So, Dr. Raffa, thanks for your leadership in making this show happen. But I am so happy to be here. My name is Charles Parisi, and I cannot think of another organization better suited to kick off this show, because Susan G. Komen is certainly the national leader and the San Diego organization, a leader in advocacy on breast cancer. And I'm so happy to have here today Lizzie Wittig. Lizzie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for being here. And Lizzie, I know you're the Director of Mission Initiatives and Public Policy for Susan Komen San Diego, which is a pretty significant endeavor and portfolio you have with Komen. So tell us a little about what you do every day with Komen, and then I want to delve into how you found your way to Komen, because it's a wonderful story.
Sure, yeah. So I work for the local San Diego affiliate of Susan G. Komen with Komen San Diego, and I oversee all of our mission programs, our initiatives, our public policy and advocacy efforts, as you were talking about. And that covers everything from free resources here to studying our community and the breast cancer needs, and speaking up and lobbying on the local, state, and federal levels.
Advocacy is so important, and again, it's the A in The Last Battle: leadership, advocacy, science, and therapy. What does advocacy mean to Susan G. Komen, and how is it the model for other organizations around the country focusing on perhaps other types of cancer besides breast cancer? Because there's no brand, I think, more connected to advocacy. So tell us, how do you do it, and what's the model for other organizations?
Yeah, so I think advocacy spreads across quite a few things. For Komen, we are always focusing on what we call our patient bill of rights. So we want to make sure that breast cancer patients always have access and ways to overcome barriers. And that is what we focus on in terms of our public policy advocacy. So I mentioned the local, state, and federal levels. We're always looking at making sure that there's funding for research and state programs. In California, we work really closely with our state program from the Breast and Cervical Cancer Early Detection Program, and also the Breast and Cervical Cancer Treatment Program. So those are our two big ones here. And locally, we talk a lot with our elected officials, mayors, and city council members, and things like that, to talk about what's going on in San Diego, where the gaps are with breast health, and how we can bridge those and be a safety net for the community. So I think the most important piece of that and the model we use is keeping, I like to say, our finger on the pulse of the community, but it's talking to survivors and people who are living this, and talking to people who are getting screened and have family history and things like that, to see what the barriers are that they're facing, what our community is facing, and that way we know what's needed. It's great for thought leaders to come to a table and talk about things and come up with strategies, but we need to be considering the people that it's actually going to be affecting. So for us, that's really where it starts, and we want to be the voice for the survivors, the patients, and the family members, and taking that and making sure that there's policies that provide equal access to everyone. That's something we really believe in. And that we're also building those relationships so that we're not only just asking for things all the time, but we're helping inform and guide policies and laws and new bills that come out.
Well, I know we're going to be touching on some of the things you're excited about as an organization in the later segments of the show, so I'm looking forward to getting back to that. But I can imagine in so to speak, the battle for funding, in the battle against cancer, Yeah, connecting the funders, whether it's donors, whether it's the government, connecting them to the human beings involved is probably nothing more powerful, I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely. Stories, personal stories are just so much more meaningful than anything else I could ever go in and say to somebody.
Yeah.
So,
well, Lizzie, our audience can't see how young you are. But then again, they can't. But then again, they can't see how old I am. That's the beauty of radio. But I'm really moved by your story, and one of the things we always like to talk about in all facets of life, whether it's here in this particular show now or in general, is passion, purpose, performance, and how they all tie together to lift someone's results and their passion and how it all connects. So. I'm really moved by your story. You started, volunteering for Komen when you were 17 years old. Can you share with our audience how the passion, purpose, performance all comes together for you at Susan G. Komen San Diego?
Sure. I joke a lot that I grew up with Komen, but it's kind of the truth. When, oh my gosh, I was 7 or 8, my mom had a friend and coworker who was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that's when I started doing the Race for the Cure, the first one here in San Diego in 1995. I was at, and it was a way to support my mom's friend, and it was a cool thing. But I didn't really understand what Komen was and what the organization did until about 2003. I was 17. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that changed a lot for me. That's when I really started getting involved and volunteering. Being 17, my mom was a single mom. I grew up with her, and we were very close, and it was just the two of us, so it really affected my life. But she was diagnosed and went through her first round of chemotherapy. We thought everything was going to be fine. She had a recurrence that came back and started growing, and at that point, we were told that my mom had 6 to 8 months to live.
Wow.
And that was really scary, obviously life-changing for both of us.
Sure, you're 17. Sure.
Yeah.
Was your last year of high school? Or?
Yes. Yeah. And actually, that was when my mom was going through her first round of chemo and treatments. My first week of college is when I found out my mom's cancer came back and that we had 6 to 8 months left together. Then
Wow.
my mom ended up going through a bunch of different treatment regimens and failed chemos after failed chemos, and was ultimately able to get on a clinical trial. And the drug that she received through that clinical trial is the only thing that had any effect on her tumors, so much so that it actually shrank them. And my mom ended up living another 6 years instead of 6 months.
Amazing.
And I found out later that that clinical trial was actually funded by Komen. So I had gotten involved with Komen because my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I just knew them as a leader in breast cancer. And then to have gone through all this and find out later that I actually had 6 years with my mom because of this organization was incredible.
That was what I wanted to dig in a little bit with on, because I know so many times we hear in the battle on cancer, we talk about we spend this much money or the drugs cost this much, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you know what? What I'm moved by with your story is, you had 6 more holiday seasons with your mom and 6 more birthdays, yours and hers.
Yep.
And all these other priceless memories for 6 years, which you cannot quantify.
Absolutely.
What? Tell me about those 6 years.
Oh, man. So one of the things my mom started doing with her treatment was coming up with little carrots, she called them. She wanted to be done with chemo in time to be at my high school graduation and be able to stand up and cheer for me. And then it was, I want to make it to your 21st birthday. And then it was, I want to see you do your final thesis in college. And then it was, I want to be at your college graduation. So
wow.
I got to experience all those things with my mom, which was really amazing. And again, Komen gave me that. But not only did Komen give me that time, Komen gave me a lot of experiences with my mom that really shaped the rest of my life, obviously, what I'm doing now. In about 2006, I participated in my first lobby day. It was a Susan G. Komen California lobby day up in Sacramento. And since I had been volunteering in the office, I had heard about it. And one of the things when my mom was diagnosed that I really struggled with was, and any breast cancer patient or survivor can tell you this, there are just days when patients don't even feel well enough to pick up a phone and make a call and talk to somebody.
Right.
So I was helping with those things and trying to call insurance and doctors and things like that was just so frustratingly hard. And granted, I was 17, but my mom was a medical professional and was able to help me. She actually worked for a large healthcare system here in San Diego. And I finally just got to the point where I started calling her friends and colleagues and asking them to help me. And they would pull strings. And I was like, what do people do who don't have these connections or don't have family or friends to help them do this on the days they can't do it? So that was so important to me. And I realized, like, this is not okay. This has to change. And I want to do something about it. And the only way we can really change those things is by changing the system and the policies. So
literally, while helping your mom through this, you learned what patient advocacy is all about.
Absolutely. And then Komen gave me an opportunity to actually be able to do that on a different level. And I called my mom and I was like, look, this is going on. I took some money out of my savings. I bought a plane ticket. I'm going to go to Sacramento and do this. And my mom was like, all right, well, I'll go with you.
Wow.
So I actually got to go do my first lobby day with my mom, which was really incredible. It was, not only did Komen give me this time with my mom, but they gave me this opportunity to learn to speak up, use my voice, and get to do that with my mom the first time. And obviously what I do now has been so affected by that and has really pushed me down that path.
And this is why these are so magical to hear these things, because we want our listeners to understand that it's about human beings and those extra months and years and memories. And you've been listening to The Last Battle with Lizzie Wittig from Komen San Diego. We'll be back in a few minutes to continue to learn more about the great work of Susan G. Komen San Diego.
In the military, things can change in an instant. At Navy Mutual Aid Association, we understand because it's our life too. That's why our dedication to serving the life insurance needs of our military veterans and their families is unrivaled. Navy Mutual offers superior life insurance protection without military service restrictions and limitations. A single focus on providing the peace of mind military families are looking for. That's what we do. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve. Call 800-628-6011 or go to NavyMutual.org.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
One person has the power to change the world, impact millions of lives, and leave a legacy for lifetimes to come. That person is you. In the New York Times bestseller, What is Your What?, Steve Olsher, award-winning author and founder of the Reinvention Workshop, reveals his proven process that has helped thousands of men and women discover, share, and monetize the one thing they were born to do. Grab your free copy now at www.whatisyourwhat.com/free. That's www.whatisyourwhat.com/free.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
I've been bragging about Progressive Medical Center to you guys for years, and I'm so excited to have Dr. Agoli with us because, Dr. Agoli, a lot of people walk through your doors, and some of their biggest problems are they're just fatigued, they're tired all the time, and even though they're dieting and exercising, they cannot get the weight off. Why is that?
It's a combination of poor metabolism, inappropriate eating, but more importantly, it's due to a lack of education and really doing the right testing. A lot of our patients are metabolically compromised. What does that mean? Their metabolism is not functioning. The metabolism is responsible for all physical and chemical processes processes necessary to sustain life, and that includes energy. And without cellular energy, your body is not going to be a burning machine. Let's get back and teach our listeners to be a fat burning machine.